Have you ever noticed how many older women around us are choosing to stay single these days? It might seem unusual at first, especially when society has long told us that companionship or marriage is the natural path. But what if the truth isn't that simple? What if staying single is a choice born from strength, wisdom, and a deep understanding of what truly brings peace and happiness? For many women over 65, this is a quiet but powerful shift that's often overlooked. It's not about loneliness or giving up. It's about freedom, healing, and self-love in ways that didn't matter as much before. In today's video, we'll explore the real reasons why older women are embracing single life and why it might just be one of the healthiest decisions they can make. Stay with me, because what you'll hear might surprise and inspire you. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Reason 1. Freedom and independence. My life, my rules. Most of us have spent a lifetime fitting our schedules around someone else's alarm clock, packing lunches at dawn, racing to PTA meetings, or tiptoeing so a partner could catch a few more minutes of sleep. Yet suddenly, perhaps in your late 60s or early 70s, you wake up and realize the only footsteps echoing down the hallway are your own. That first quiet cup of coffee, no compromise on brand, brew strength, or mug, can feel like a revelation. You decide whether Saturday means pancakes at the diner on Main Street or a stroll around the neighborhood greenway, and nobody raises an eyebrow either way. That sense of unfiltered choice may seem trivial, but it is the heartbeat of something larger: freedom. But here's the surprising question. Does freedom truly belong only to the young? Or could it be that the later chapters of life are exactly when independence becomes most essential? We're often told that aging means shrinking horizons, fewer adventures, fewer decisions, fewer dreams. Yet mounting evidence suggests the opposite. When older adults feel in control of daily routines, their brains release dopamine, the same feel-good chemical that powers motivation in our younger years. At the same time, lower cortisol levels, linked to reduced stress, help steady blood pressure, improve sleep quality, and even sharpen memory. Researchers at Stanford found that seniors who actively design their schedules report a 26% drop in doctor visits for stress-related ailments. In other words, autonomy isn't simply a luxury, it's preventative medicine. So, how do you cultivate that medicine without turning life into yet another to-do list? Begin with a yes to me calendar. Every Sunday evening, jot down one choice that is purely yours: a morning swim at the Y, reading the new James Patterson novel, or trying Thai food for the first time. Next, establish a micro-budget labeled Freedom Fund, even if it's only $20 a month. Use it guilt-free on things that make you feel expansive, whether that's watercolor supplies, a jazz concert ticket, or gas for a spontaneous day trip. Finally, practice saying a graceful no. You're not obliged to attend every church committee meeting or babysit every grandpup. A polite refusal creates space for the activities that light you up from the inside out. Let me share a quick story. After losing her husband of 44 years, Ethel, a retired nurse from Ohio, couldn't imagine traveling alone. Yet she kept dreaming of the national parks she and George had planned to visit. One evening, armed with her Freedom Fund, she booked a seat on a seniors-only bus tour to Yellowstone. She called it her trial run. Somewhere between Old Faithful's roar and a campfire sing-along, Ethel felt a spark she hadn't recognized in decades. 6 months later, she was behind the wheel of a modest RV, charting her cross-country route. Her blood pressure dropped, her laughter returned, and her adult children now brag that Mom's social calendar is busier than theirs. If you've been telling yourself that true independence sailed long ago, remember Ethel, and remember the science. Your neurons still crave novelty, your heart still benefits from stress melting away, your spirit still thrives on choice. The rules are yours to write, erase, and rewrite as many times as you please. So tomorrow morning, pour that perfect cup of coffee, open your Yes to Me calendar, and take one small step in the direction that feels like sunshine. Freedom isn't what you relinquished in youth. It's the gift waiting patiently on your front porch. Answer the door. You've earned it. Reason 2. Past emotional wounds. Been there, hurt before. You're settling in for the night, TV glowing softly in the corner, when an old love song drifts through the speakers and tightens your chest. Instantly, you're back in that hospital hallway, saying goodbye far too soon, or at the courthouse, signing papers you never thought you'd see. The memories feel as sharp as yesterday, even if decades have passed. Many older women carry these invisible bruises. The husband who left, the partner who passed, the long-ago betrayal that still stings when the house grows quiet. Friends may say, time heals everything, but you know that time often just teaches you to tuck the pain into a neater box. Never truly gone, only stacked behind other keepsakes in the attic of your mind. But what if the real question isn't, how do I forget? What if it's, how do I honor the scars without letting them lock the door on my future? Neuroscientists at Duke University have discovered that emotional memories lodge more deeply in the amygdala than everyday ones, which is why a familiar cologne or a certain laugh can transport you back in an instant. Yet the brain is also astonishingly plastic. Even at 70 or 80, neural pathways can reroute, allowing fresh experiences to dilute old sorrow. Studies show that guided reflection, paired with new positive rituals, can lower cortisol levels by up to 30%, easing blood pressure and improving sleep. In other words, your story isn't set in stone. It's more like wet clay, still open to shaping. So begin gently. Create a memory moment each morning. Hold a keepsake, a locket, a photo, a pressed flower, and speak aloud one lesson that heartbreak taught you about your strength. Then close that ritual with a future-facing promise, even something as small as, I will try the new cafe on Elm Street. This two-step practice signals the limbic system that past and present are separate chapters, easing the brain's stress response. Next, invite safe novelty. Attend a book club meeting at the senior center, download a language app for 10 minutes a day, or plant basil on the windowsill and watch it sprout. Tiny fresh inputs help the hippocampus weave new memories beside the old, so the bittersweet song no longer monopolizes the soundtrack. Consider Eleanor, a 73-year-old former school librarian from Arizona. Widowed at 60, she spent years rewinding the same reel of regrets. Did she work too many late nights? Did she miss warning signs of her husband's illness? One spring afternoon, her granddaughter coaxed her into a watercolor class. Eleanor's first painting was shaky, but the instructor praised her sense of color. That small spark nudged her to return, and soon Tuesday mornings were reserved for mixing cerulean blues and burnt siennas. Months later, she realized she'd gone 3 days without replaying the hospital farewell. The ache hadn't vanished, but it no longer defined her hours. Last fall, he exhibited 2 pieces at a local art walk. Under each frame, she tucked a note, painted in honor of the love that shaped me and the courage that carries me forward. Visitors wiped away quiet tears, and Eleanor felt something loosen, like a window finally lifted to let in fresh air. If your own heart still feels patched together with safety pins, remember that wounds heal in layers, not overnight. The goal isn't to erase the past. It's to weave it into a wider tapestry where bright new threads shine just as boldly. Speak your lessons aloud, plant that basil, pick up a paintbrush or a passport application, or simply a new walking route through the park. Every small step tells your brain, I am still becoming. And on the evenings when another love song floats through the room, close your eyes, thank the memory for the wisdom it left, and then open the window a little wider. The night air is cool, and somewhere beyond, tomorrow is already calling your name. Reason 3, not wanting to burden their children, respecting boundaries. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The phone rings at 7 p.m. sharp, just like it does every Sunday. Your daughter's cheerful voice pours through the receiver, asking if you've eaten and whether the new arthritis cream is helping. Before you can finish answering, she slips in the same gentle offer she's made for years. Mom, why don't you move in with us? We've got the space, and the kids would love having you here. You pause, managing a grateful smile she can't see. The truth is you adore your family. Yet the thought of your days revolving around their schedules, your needs feeling like extra weight on their already busy shoulders, tightens your chest. You picture school drop-offs, late-night work calls, baseball practice, and you worry your presence, no matter how welcome, might tip the balance from happy chaos into outright overload. It feels safer to stay put, even if that means quiet dinners for one. But here's the question that appends the usual script. Is declining their help an act of unnecessary pride, or could it be a powerful expression of love? Conventional wisdom suggests that families should stick together under one roof, that merging households is the most caring path. Yet psychologists at the University of Michigan have found that older parents who maintain a sense of autonomy often strengthen, not weaken, their bonds with adult children. When caretaking shifts from daily duty to intentional, chosen time together, both generations report lower levels of chronic stress hormones like cortisol and higher levels of oxytocin, the connection hormone that underpins trust and warmth. In short, independence can safeguard the very closeness you treasure. Still, respecting boundaries shouldn't mean retreating into isolation. Start with a proactive family meeting. Yes, even if it's over Zoom. Share your honest wish to stay self-reliant while acknowledging moments when extra hands will be vital. Put it in writing, a support menu that lists situations you'll handle solo, like routine grocery shopping or lawn care, and circumstances where you'll gladly accept help, perhaps after surgery or during severe weather. Next, build a local safety net that doesn't lean solely on family. Community centers often partner with rideshare volunteers for doctor visits. Pharmacies deliver prescriptions at no charge. Grocery apps let you schedule drop-offs, freeing you to keep your refrigerator stocked without calling your son at midnight. Finally, practice what gerontologists call shared rituals at a distance. Schedule weekly video dinners where everyone eats the same recipe, swap book recommendations through group texts, or stream the grandkids' school plays live. These simple habits satisfy the brain's craving for connection while honoring everyone's bandwidth. Take Dorothy, a 76-year-old retired teacher in Oregon. After her husband died, her 2 children begged her to sell the house and move cross-country. Dorothy loved the idea of bedtime stories in person, but she pictured her son's conference calls clashing with her early morning birdwatching, her daughter tiptoeing around to balance parenting and caretaking. Instead, Dorothy downsized to a modest condo 3 blocks from a senior co-op that offers fitness classes and communal gardening. She set up a green-yellow-red plan with her kids. Green means she's fine, yellow triggers a check-in, red signals they fly out or call local friends for immediate help. Most days stay firmly in the green zone, yet every Friday they gather via video. Dorothy on her bright floral sofa, grandkids slurping milkshakes in Kansas City. When the session ends, everyone feels lighter, not drained. Dorothy's doctor recently noted her blood pressure has fallen 10 points, and her son jokes that mom is the healthiest person in the family chat. So if you hesitate each time that loving invitation surfaces, remember, choosing to uphold your routines can be a gift, not a rejection. By preserving your energy and dignity, you leave space for laughter instead of obligation when the family comes to visit. You model self-sufficiency for the grandchildren, showing them that aging need not equal dependence. Most of all, you keep the door open for help that's joyful, not resentful, because it's given at the right time for the right reasons. Let your independence be the sturdy keel beneath your family's boat, steady, supportive, and always there when the seas grow rough. After all, love isn't measured by square footage. It's measured by the ease with which everyone can breathe when they're together. Reason 4. Changing social norms, breaking the mold. Remember when the word spinster could silence a room, or when a woman arrived at church without a wedding band and tongues began to wag? Those whispered judgments shaped entire lifetimes. You might still hear the echoes, Neighbors urging a widow to find someone before it's too late. Television ads pairing silver hair with rocking chairs and bingo nights, as though aging were a slow fade to beige. Yet step outside today, and the landscape has flipped on its head. Jane Fonda champions singlehood on talk shows, senior co-housing communities sprout in every state, and social media feeds celebrate solo travel at 70, with hashtags as bright as confetti. Something remarkable is happening. The mold has cracked, and the expectations that once boxed older women into tidy domestic corners are breaking apart like old plaster. So here's the curveball question. If society no longer dictates that a woman must be partnered to be whole, why should she keep living by rules written in another century? Sociologists at Boston College track these shifts through what they call norm cascades. A cascade begins when a critical mass of people quietly reject an outdated belief. Then suddenly that belief collapses in public view. In the last decade alone, surveys show a 40% drop in the stigma around senior singlehood. The American Psychological Association links this freedom directly to mental well-being. Older adults who feel socially validated, whether partnered or not, score higher in life satisfaction scales and lower in depressive symptoms. Far from promoting isolation, the modern ethos of live the life that fits you creates space for friendships, purpose, and personal growth to thrive without the pressure of a ring. If you're curious how to ride this wave without losing balance, start small and local. Replace the phrase, just me, with lucky me, whenever you discuss weekend plans. Language shapes mindset, and mindset shapes possibilities. Next, design your own norm-buster bucket list. Pin it to the fridge. It could include leading a volunteer project, auditioning for the community theater, or opening an Etsy shop for those quilts you've been stitching for years. Every checkmark reinforces the truth that fulfillment is self-generated, not spouse-issued. Finally, cultivate intergenerational connections. Grandnieces and former students can help navigate new tech or introduce you to podcasts and online groups where seasoned voices are celebrated. Sharing wisdom while learning the latest dance challenge on TikTok isn't frivolous. Neurologists at UCLA note that multi-age social engagement stimulates prefrontal cortex activity, protecting cognitive function. Let me introduce you to Rosalind, age 69, a retired postal worker from North Carolina. 2 months after her husband passed, well-meaning friends pressed her to join a senior dating site. She humored them until the matches all seemed to want a live-in cook, nurse, or Sunday church arm candy, as she later joked. One evening, scrolling past endless canned smiles, she discovered a Facebook group called the Golden Girls House Share. Within weeks, Rosalind and 3 other single women, one never married, one divorced, one widowed, were touring a big farmhouse outside Asheville. They drew up house rules over peach cobbler, split bills, and turned spare bedrooms into craft studios and meditation nooks. Last winter, they hosted a Friendsgiving for neighbors, raising $1,200 for the local food bank. Rosalind hasn't ruled out romance, but it's no longer a yardstick for her future. When someone asks if she feels strange not coupling up, she laughs. Why limit myself to one person's company when I've got an entire circle of sisters and a world to explore? Perhaps your script still has dusty lines about what a proper life looks like. Rip out the page. The spotlight is yours, and the audience, society itself, has already updated the program. Let your days be guided by curiosity rather than convention. Hang your bucket list where the grocery list once went. Swap should for could. And remember that molds are meant for casting, not caging. Step beyond the broken pieces, feel the fresh air on your face, and claim the spacious, uncharted chapter that waits whenever a brave woman dares to write her own rules. Reason 5. Health and energy limitations. Prioritizing myself. You wake up intent on starting fresh, but the moment your feet touch the floor, your knees protest, and the day's energy already feels half spent. By mid-afternoon, the simplest chores, hauling a laundry basket, pulling weeds, standing in the kitchen to chop vegetables, leave you hunting for the nearest chair and wondering whether it's worth planning an evening outing at all. Friends nudge you toward companionship, yet the idea of managing someone else's doctor appointments, meal preferences, or social calendar when you can barely keep your prescriptions straight sounds exhausting, not romantic. Little by little, you decide it's kinder to yourself and to everyone else to remain single rather than risk becoming the tired half of a couple. But here's a question that turns the usual storyline upside down. What if your shrinking energy bank isn't a sentence handed down by age alone, but a signal urging you to put your well-being at the center of the page? Instead of asking, "Can I keep up with another person?" you might ask, "How can I structure each day so that my body and mind replenish themselves?" Gerontologists call this approach energy sovereignty, and it's proving more powerful than any step tracker ever invented. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Here's why. As we cross our mid-60s, the mitochondria in our cells, think of them as microscopic power plants, produce ATP more slowly, meaning muscles fatigue sooner and bounce back later. Add the chronic inflammation that often sneaks in with arthritis, heart disease, or diabetes, and every errand costs extra. Studies from Johns Hopkins show that when older adults treat energy like a budget, spending it deliberately and slowing down before overdrawing, their CRP, C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation, drops by up to 18% in 6 months. Even more striking, MRI scans reveal increased blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the brain region that governs decision-making, suggesting that conserving physical stamina sharpens mental focus, too. So pulling back isn't surrender. It's strategic reinvestment in longevity. Start with a 3-step refuel routine that fits inside an ordinary week. First, conduct a personal energy audit. Jot down the tasks that drain you fastest: climbing stairs, long grocery lines, cooking large meals, and circle one you can outsource or simplify. Maybe you order groceries online once a month or switch to batch cooking chili in a slow cooker. Second, insert micro-rests before and after every demand on your joints. 5 minutes of seated diaphragmatic breathing lowers heart rate and cues the vagus nerve to shift your body into recovery mode. Third, adopt what physical therapists call companion movements. Gentle actions that give back more than they take. A 15-minute silver sneakers pool class, a Tai Chi flow on YouTube, or a slow walk around the block at twilight bathes muscles in oxygen without spiking cortisol. Each micro-investment deposits a little ATP back into your account. Need proof it's worth the effort? Meet Margaret, 74, a retired school bus driver from Wisconsin. When her longtime sweetheart passed, well-meaning neighbors tried setting her up on coffee dates within months. She obliged, but juggling introductions and expectations left her more fatigued than fulfilled. After a winter bout of pneumonia, she vowed to court her health first. She arranged pharmacy delivery for medications, traded marathon phone calls for short video chats, and joined an aquatic exercise group that meets twice a week. 6 months in, her primary care doctor noted stronger grip strength and a 10-point drop in resting blood pressure. Margaret still enjoys male company. She met a fellow gardener at the community plot, but claims her happiest relationship is with the woman she sees in the mirror every morning, rosy-cheeked after lap number 10. So if you've worried that saying no to a live-in partner or daily babysitting duty makes you selfish, remember the science, and Margaret. Prioritizing your stamina is an act of generosity. It ensures the time you do share with loved ones is vibrant, not weary. Picture your energy as sunlight filtering through stained glass. When you keep the panes clean and face them toward the day, the colors shine brighter for everyone nearby. This week, honor that light. Trim one draining obligation, schedule one nourishing movement session, and gift yourself one guilt-free rest. Your body, your spirit, and all who care about you will feel the warm glow. Reason 6. Life experience leads to selectiveness. I know what I want. You scroll through another batch of online profiles. One man poses with a trophy base, another boasts of running marathons in record time, a third asks if you'd mind doing all the cooking because my late wife was a kitchen wizard. You sigh, hit next, and wonder if your standards have grown too tall to hurdle. Friends tease that you're picky as a cat in a rocking chair store, yet after 7 decades of life surprises, you've earned the right to be discerning. You know how exhausting mismatched values can be, how a casual joke can bruise, how clashing spending habits can turn shared dreams into quarrels. But here's the question that flips the usual critique. Is high selectiveness a flaw, or the seasoned wisdom that keeps your future peaceful? Neuroscientists at the University of Texas explain that aging brains sharpen at spotting red flags. The prefrontal cortex, the region that weighs consequences, stays remarkably resilient when regularly exercised through reflective thinking. Meanwhile, researchers call the tendency for older adults to focus on emotionally meaningful goals the positivity effect. In other words, your preference for companions who add calm rather than chaos isn't stubbornness. It's biology encouraging you to protect limited time and energy. A Stanford study showed that seniors who maintained clear, non-negotiables in relationships, kindness, reliability, shared interests, had 35% lower stress hormone levels than peers who tolerated incompatible partners simply to avoid loneliness. Selectiveness, then, is less about narrowing possibilities and more about widening life satisfaction. So, how do you practice this art without feeling isolated? Begin by writing a 2-column heart map. On the left, list 3 qualities you require, perhaps respect for your faith, financial honesty, or a shared love of jazz. On the right, jot 3 areas where you're flexible: distance in miles, favorite foods, and political leanings. This simple exercise calms the brain's decision circuitry, reducing what psychologists call choice fatigue. Next, create a curiosity zone instead of a wish list. When meeting someone, online or at the community center, ask questions that reveal character rather than credentials. How do you spend a rainy afternoon? What makes you laugh until you snort? Their answers show alignment faster than resumes ever will. Finally, place yourself where compatibility is likely to bloom naturally. A memoir writing workshop if words thrill you. A hiking club if sunrise on a trail lights your soul. Shared activities allow values to surface organically, sidestepping small talk that often masks misalignment. Consider Linda, a 71-year-old retired accountant from Colorado. After a draining marriage that ended in her 50s, she spent years convincing herself she was too set in her ways for new love. Then, inspired by a granddaughter's suggestion, she enrolled in a culinary tour of New Mexico. One afternoon, stirring red chili sauce in an adobe courtyard, she chatted with Henry, a widowed science teacher who admitted he'd joined the tour because he finally had time to savor flavor. Over 3 days, they compared travel journals, discovered matched thriftiness, shared playlists of old folk tunes, and laughed through a salsa-making mishap. Back home, Linda pulled out her heart map. Kindness, curiosity, respect for budgeting, check, check, check. 2 years later, they divide their weeks between gardening, volunteering at the local food pantry, and planning slow train adventures across the Southwest. Linda jokes that selectiveness didn't shrink her chances. It spotlighted the one person who fit like comfortable boots. If anyone labels your clarity picky, smile and remember the research and Linda's red chili epiphany. Life experience has taught you the soundtrack that soothes, the pace that sustains, the humor that heals. Treat your standards not as walls but as well-marked trail signs guiding you toward relationships. Romantic, platonic, energize rather than drain. Tonight, when you scroll past yet another trophy-based photo, pause before hitting next. Ask yourself, does this face spark curiosity or caution? Trust the answer, because that quiet inner compass was forged from every lesson you've ever learned. You're not turning away from possibility, you're steering toward peace. And peace at this stage is the richest treasure you could choose. Reason 7. Benefits from social networks and community. Connected but single. Your tablet buzzes with a friendly chime just as you're pouring a second cup of afternoon tea. The notification isn't another sales ad or alarming headline. It's a message from the Over 65 Garden Exchange group on Facebook. Does anyone have extra basil seedlings? Swap at the park this Thursday. A few years ago, you might have ignored it. After all, social media felt like the kids' playground. But lately those little pings have become gateways to laughter, advice, and genuine friendship. In a world where people assume single seniors spend evenings alone with the TV, that tiny digital nudge reminds you you're part of something bigger, livelier, and wonderfully unexpected. So here's the question that flips conventional wisdom. If true connection flourishes only inside marriage, why do more older women than ever report feeling socially fulfilled while living solo? Researchers at the University of Chicago found that the Relationship Quality Index, a measure of how supported people feel, depends far less on romantic status than on the breadth of their social web, friends, neighbors, church groups, hobby circles, even online forums. Each positive interaction triggers microbursts of oxytocin, the bonding hormone that lowers blood pressure and eases anxiety. The same study showed that seniors who exchanged at least 5 warm messages a day, whether digital or face-to-face, slept better and had 30% fewer doctor visits for stress-related complaints. Connection, it turns out, isn't about one monumental bond. It's about many bright threads woven through daily life. If you'd like to strengthen those threads without feeling overwhelmed, think of your social world as a garden plot. First, plant one familiar seed by rekindling an interest you loved decades ago. Knitting, jazz piano, Route 66 trivia, and search online or at the local library for groups that share it. Familiar soil makes conversation sprout effortlessly. Next, add a curiosity seed. Choose something entirely new, perhaps a beginner's Spanish class on Zoom or a weekly neighborhood birdwatching stroll advertised on Nextdoor. Novelty stretches the brain's neural pathways, improving memory and mood. Finally, water your garden with consistency. A short Tuesday check-in on a group chat, Saturday coffee at the community center, or a monthly potluck keeps connections blooming without drenching your schedule. Let me tell you about Teresa, a 68-year-old retired postal clerk in Florida. After her divorce, evenings felt painfully silent until she downloaded the Meetup app at her granddaughter's urging. She joined Sunset Walkers, a seniors group that meets on the pier every Wednesday. The first night she arrived nervous, clutching a flashlight as if it were a security blanket. But conversation drifted as easily as the tide. Recipes, grandkids, favorite Motown tracks, and by the time the sky turned sherbet orange, she'd laughed more than she had in months. Within a week, she added a virtual watercolor class and a twice-monthly trivia team at the library. Last spring, Teresa helped organize a community pantry drive. The group collected 600 pounds of canned goods and celebrated with key lime pie. Her doctor recently remarked on her steadier blood pressure and brighter outlook. Teresa simply grinned. Turns out the pier and a phone app beat any dating service I've tried. If you catch yourself thinking, I'm too old for new circles, or social media is a jungle, remember Teresa's pier and the basil seedlings awaiting trade. Each message, each shared sunset, each swapped herb is proof that connection wears many faces. Let your curiosity tap the screen, open the door, or wave across the pew. The right people may be only a click or a cul-de-sac away. And when your tablet rings tomorrow, answer it with a smile. You're not just single. You're part of an ever-growing community quilt, stitched together by choice, kindness, and the simple joy of being seen. Reason 8. Focus on self-development. It's never too late. You open the bottom drawer of your nightstand, and your fingers brush a spiral notebook still crisp from the store. It's the journal you bought 2 birthdays ago, the one you promised would hold the first chapter of your memoir or the sketches you never made time for. Instead, it has hovered there beneath reading glasses and loose change, quietly asking the same question every time you reach past it. When will you begin? Many people assume life after 65 is for settling into routines, not launching fresh ambitions. Yet you feel a small ember glowing whenever you imagine learning Italian, mastering watercolor washes, or finally understanding the constellations that glitter outside your window. So let's flip the usual assumption. Is personal growth reserved for the young, or does this chapter, free from office deadlines and child-rearing chores, offer the richest stretch of creative runway you've ever had? Neuroscientists at Harvard Medical School report that older adults who engage in purposeful learning create new dendritic branches in the hippocampus, the brain's memory hub, at nearly the same rate as college students. Meanwhile, dopamine spikes generated by discovery lower inflammation markers like CRP and IL-6, easing joint pain and protecting the heart. Your mind isn't closing its doors. It's waiting for fresh guests to ring the bell. Begin with a 60-day curiosity sprint. Choose one subject that quickens your pulse, maybe Appalachian folk guitar or local Civil War history, and commit 15 minutes a day to it. Keep the bar low enough to glide over, a YouTube tutorial during breakfast or a single paragraph in a beginner's textbook after dinner. Next, build a progress ladder. Write 5 rungs that mark achievements you can celebrate. Reading a recipe in Italian, strumming 3 chords, identifying Orion without a smartphone app. Each time you reach a rung, treat yourself, perhaps with that specialty coffee you love or a scenic drive at sunset. Small rewards reinforce neural pathways, turning tentative practice into a durable habit. Now layer in a social element to turbocharge motivation. Post weekly updates in a Facebook group for lifelong learners, or invite a neighbor to join you at the community college's adult education night. Educational psychologists call this shared accountability, and studies show it doubles the likelihood of sticking with a new skill past the first month. If in-person classes feel daunting, librarians will gladly help you stream lectures or download language apps on a tablet. Many even offer one-on-one tech tutoring tailored for seniors. Consider Arthur, a 73-year-old former auto mechanic from Pennsylvania. After retiring, he spent evenings half watching game shows until a documentary on space exploration reignited the wonder he'd felt as a boy with a toy telescope. Arthur ordered an entry-level star map and joined a free online forum where amateur astronomers swapped tips. His first night in the backyard, he located Jupiter, a blurry dot, but unmistakable. 2 months later, he saved up for a mid-range telescope and started hosting porch planet parties, inviting grandkids and neighbors to marvel at Saturn's rings. The excitement nudged him to read physics blogs, which in turn sharpened his mental math skills. His doctor noticed improved cholesterol scores, likely thanks to nightly walks to find darker skies away from porch lights. Arthur says the universe feels both bigger and more intimate now, a classroom with no walls and no final exam. If your inner critic whispers that 80 is too late to start anything new, hush it with science and stories. Your brain still grows, your heart still rallies, and the world still hides corners you haven't explored. Dust off that journal. Write one vivid memory or sketch the mug on your nightstand. Download a beginner's app, register for the library workshop, or mark the next community lecture on your calendar. Each small act fans that ember until it glows like a campfire, beckoning fellow travelers and lighting the path into tomorrow. You are not racing the clock. You are partnering with it, turning every tick into a chance to learn, stretch, and shine. It's never too late, unless you decide not to begin. Reason 9. Not wanting to be a burden. I'm not a burden. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In the quiet moments of the day, you might catch yourself hesitating before asking for help. Maybe it's a call to your son to fix the leaky faucet or a text to your daughter to pick up your prescription. Deep down, there's a whisper of worry. Am I becoming a burden? The fear of tipping the balance from being a cherished parent or friend into a source of obligation weighs heavily. You remember the independence you've treasured for decades, the late-night drives, the paycheck you earned with pride, the decisions made on your terms. The thought of surrendering that autonomy feels like losing a piece of yourself, even as your body or circumstances require more support. So many older women choose to live alone, quietly carrying this unspoken promise: I will take care of myself, so I don't weigh on anyone else. But what if that worry, noble as it seems, is shadowing your ability to receive kindness and connection? Psychologists from the University of California highlight that the fear of being a burden is one of the most common barriers preventing seniors from seeking help, yet paradoxically, it often causes more stress than the actual help needed. Studies show that accepting support can lower cortisol levels, ease anxiety, and even speed physical recovery. Moreover, healthy relationships thrive on reciprocity. Offering help and receiving it creates a rhythm of mutual respect and love. Declining assistance out of fear can isolate you, cutting off the very connections that nourish your spirit. How can you balance independence with openness to support? Begin by reframing help as an act of love, not obligation. When a neighbor offers to bring over a meal or your friend invites you for a ride to the doctor, try saying, "Thank you, I'd love that," even if you worry about imposing. Next, create a help plan outlining tasks you're comfortable delegating and those you prefer to handle yourself. Sharing this with family or trusted friends reduces uncertainty and opens clear channels for assistance. Finally, nurture your role as a giver too, perhaps by writing letters, sharing recipes, or mentoring younger neighbors, so support feels like a shared gift, not a one-way street. Take Louise, a 78-year-old widow living in Michigan. For years, she resisted asking her children for help, even as arthritis made cooking and cleaning increasingly difficult. After a minor fall, she reluctantly accepted a home care aide who came twice a week. To her surprise, the aide quickly became a companion and cheerleader, encouraging her to join a senior walking club and reconnect with old friends. Louise's children, relieved to see her safe and happier, now call more often, not out of duty, but out of love. Louise reflects, "Letting others in didn't lessen my strength, it expanded my world." If you find yourself holding back, remember that love and support are not burdens, they are lifelines. Allowing others to help is a way of saying, "I trust you, and I value our bond." Independence doesn't mean going it alone. It means choosing when to lean on others and when to stand tall. Embrace that balance, and you'll find your days richer, your heart lighter, and your connections deeper. After all, none of us walks this path entirely solo. And sometimes, the strongest step is the one that lets someone else walk beside you. Reason 10. Self-love and acceptance. Loving me first. There comes a quiet moment in many women's lives, often unheralded, yet profoundly transformative, when looking in the mirror no longer sparks a critique, but a gentle recognition. The lines etched by laughter and tears become stories, not flaws. The gray threads woven through your hair feel less like signs of fading and more like badges of survival. After decades of giving love, advice, and care to family, friends, and community, you begin to realize that the most vital relationship is the one you nurture with yourself. Loving yourself first isn't selfish. It's the foundation that makes every other connection stronger and more joyful. You might wonder, isn't self-love something we're supposed to learn in youth? The surprising truth is that neuroscience shows the brain remains remarkably adaptable well into our 70s and beyond. When you practice kindness toward yourself, through affirmations, mindful breathing, or simply allowing rest without guilt, your brain releases oxytocin and serotonin, hormones that ease anxiety and promote well-being. Psychologists find that seniors who embrace self-acceptance report higher life satisfaction and resilience, even when facing health challenges or loss. Self-love creates a buffer against loneliness and fear, making the later years not a decline but a blossoming. Start with small daily rituals that honor who you are today. Each morning, look in the mirror and say one thing you appreciate about yourself. Maybe your perseverance, your sense of humor, or your compassion. Next, carve out moments to do something that replenishes your spirit, whether it's a slow walk in the park, writing letters to old friends, or savoring a favorite tea while watching the sunset. Remember, self-love isn't about grand gestures. It's the accumulation of tiny acts of kindness toward yourself. Let me share Grace's story, a 75-year-old retired nurse from Vermont. After years of putting others first, Grace hit a low point following her husband's death. She found herself overwhelmed and disconnected until a friend encouraged her to join a weekly yoga class focused on gentle stretches and meditation. The first class was awkward and humbling, but gradually, Grace noticed a shift. More ease in her movements, a quieter mind, and a growing warmth when she caught her reflection. She started journaling gratitude and learned to say no without guilt. Today, Grace feels a deep peace she never expected, describing her relationship with herself as the most nourishing love affair I've ever had. If you've been waiting for permission to love yourself fiercely and fully, consider this your invitation. You are worthy, not because of what you do, who you've been, or what others expect, but simply because you are. When you love yourself first, you light a candle that no storm can extinguish, illuminating your path and inspiring everyone lucky enough to walk beside you. So tomorrow morning, when you rise and greet your reflection, offer kindness as freely as the sunrise offers light. You deserve that love. Always have, always will. As we've journeyed through these reasons why many older women choose to stay single today, one truth shines clearly. Singlehood in later life is not about loneliness or loss. It's a powerful choice rooted in freedom, wisdom, and self-respect. Whether it's the joy of living life on your terms, the healing from past wounds, the desire to protect your independence and avoid burdening loved ones, or embracing new social norms that honor your individuality, each reason speaks to a deep, authentic desire for a fulfilling life. You've heard how valuing your health and energy means prioritizing yourself, how life experience sharpens your ability to choose wisely, and how rich social connections flourish beyond romantic relationships. We've seen the incredible potential in focusing on self-development and understood the strength it takes to accept help without guilt. Most importantly, we explored how self-love and acceptance create the foundation for joy and resilience in your golden years. Remember, choosing to be single is not a step backward, it's a step toward a life crafted by your hand. It's about celebrating who you are today and the exciting possibilities ahead. You deserve happiness on your terms, with peace in your heart and freedom in your days. If this resonates with you, know you are not alone. Millions of women share this path, breaking molds and embracing their stories with courage and grace. I invite you to share your own experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters and can inspire others. Thank you for joining me. Here's to living fully, loving deeply, and owning every moment of the beautiful, unique journey that is your life.